those 100-acre woods. So today, here at the homestead, got a new toy to play with. So this is a stump grinder that is from Titan Attachments. So we have several stumps here at the homestead, at the 100 acres, and then also at my sister's house that we really want to take care of. So we ended up getting this as something that can mount 3-point hitch on the small tractor or the 62. It's PTO driven, and you can see the teeth on it here. So the idea is that you back up to it and then you can kind of eat through the stump. So see, we just got the thing unboxed. I'm going to work on getting the PTO shaft on. Have a stump here at the homestead that we can try it on and see how it does. But I'll get the shaft on, get the tractor over here, get it spun around, get it on the concrete, and then work on getting it hooked up. So we'll see how it does. Once we kind of have used it some, I'll give a review of how it works, flaws, likes, dislikes, and kind of everything surrounding that. So first appearance looks like it's fairly well built. Everything seems pretty heavy duty, and at first appearance appears to be well built. So we'll give it a fair shakeout, and then kind of give you an update on what we think, and anything, pros, cons, all that kind of stuff. So I'll work on kind of getting this put together, get it on the tractor, and see how it does. Okay, so coming over here to the firewood yard, and we have this stump that has kind of been here. Whenever we expanded this, we cut this tree down. It was like a sassafras, I believe. So we got that stump grinder all hooked up. So we're going to try and see how it does. This is pretty rotten, so it should go through it pretty easy. Okay. Guess we'll go that high. Yeah, dude. I need to. Okay, so there's a pin in it that I took out. Basically, it allows it to kind of float, so it can't get hung up. And it's got a whole bunch of carbide teeth on it. So kind of as we do a fast forward here, some of this seems to work fairly well. The only thing that kind of a little confused about is it seems like the chute is on the wrong side, because if you notice, a lot of the material goes out the right hand side as we're looking at it, and kind of ended up shooting over to the trailer that's sitting over there and kind of covering it. So we really need to come up with some kind of mud flap or something to put over there to help stop that from happening. And the only other disadvantage that we have here is you're having to move back and forth a lot. So depending on the area, you could kind of rut it up. So today, back out here at the food plot to begin with, and they've already gone through and done the harrow and spread a little bit of seed. So just kind of scuffed this up, got some of the big stuff, piled it there, and went through and just kind of did this general area. To start with, just kind of give it as a sample spot to see, and just see what all, we'll kind of grow in this area, and then eventually we'll kind of work our way back that way. But for now, kind of gives them a spot to see what will grow and how it does. So the other thing you'll notice, all these stumps that are left up here. So these are all the big trees that we cut down this last time. On the back of the Otter, we loaded up the stump grinder that we tested out at the home site just to make sure it kind of worked as intended, and seems to work like we want. So we're going to unload this, have the little tractor out here today, and we'll have to cut some of these stumps off a little bit lower so that so the tractor will get over it, because basically you have to go over it and then you work your way forward to eat some of these down. But we'll be able to get a lot of these cleaned up in here, which will really help, just kind of navigating and not have these big things sticking up. We'll have to go through and cut all these off with the chainsaw a little bit lower, but we'll get this hooked up and really kind of put it more through its paces today. Kind of working through these. All these were cut down in the last month or so, and you have varying sizes. So we have some that are fairly small, like that one or that one, and then we have some of these bigger ones here, and we have all types of trees, mostly kind of like some poplars and like a couple cherries in there. So we'll see how that works. So anyway, we'll see how that goes today, try to get some footage of that, and see how this thing works. So I'll go ahead and get it unloaded from the Otter here. It's just the easiest way to get it over to the 100 acres from the homestead. It's got a couple of feet on it. You have to play a little bit with kind of how exactly we want it to set, because there's kind of a couple different spots on it, and that kind of depends on how low the 3-point hitch will drop compared to what its ability to go down is. The other holes, the top set, so we'll go down a little bit further. So one thing we kind of discovered after using this is the 3-point hitch on this older tractor has a little bit of slop in it. Even once we tightened everything up as much as we could, it still kind of has where it can get the rocking. And here it's not too bad, but kind of you can get an oscillation going to where it's unhappy. So we want to try to find something where we can essentially ratchet or bind it to one side so that you have to move the entire machine, to where the 62 could be nice, just because with the 10,000 pound machine or 8,000 without the backhoe on there, it wouldn't want to move as much. You just have to be careful with it because you could, in theory, then damage the stump grinder just because you have more weight behind it. But here you can see it's working really well. You have a lot of material that's shooting out, but then you have a small collection of it up front. So not 100% sure how that's supposed to work. In most cases it's not going to really matter for us because we're going to be out in the woods. But here there's kind of an instance where I talked about where we can kind of get the shaking a little bit within that 3-point hitch on this older tractor. Basically the only time it really stalled out the tractor, because right now the clutch, it does have a slip clutch as part of the PTO, but right now it's set where the tractor will stall out before that. But the only time it stalled out the tractor was kind of whenever you try to take too big of a bite and that 3-point hitch starts to oscillate and kind of it grabs and then lets go and grabs and kind of starts shaking, and then with that it will eventually kind of kill the tractor. So something that we kind of just have to learn, and if we can kind of get it so that that 3-point hitch doesn't move as much, that would help. So we've looked into getting the new pieces there. It's fairly expensive to get the kind of the OEM Kubota ones, so we may look at getting some aftermarket ones or making something to kind of help tighten that up. So a little bit of time lapse of doing several different ones here. So I went through with the saw, cut off several of them, and then followed back up with the stump grinder to get the stumps below the surface. The main idea here is our path is kind of along the right hand side of the shot, so we didn't want any trees right there next to kind of the path where we could hit them. But then also this area will eventually become more food plot, so we'll be able to open this up. And either later this year, or probably more likely next year, they'll be able to kind of plant further, and we can maybe do some additional tree cutting and get it all down. But with those stumps gone, even just cut off, it looks a lot nicer and a lot more open here, and makes a big difference in the appearance. Got one stump left. I got like 90% of the way through it, so whenever he gets done with that, turn around, bump it with the loader. Here's what we've gotten so far. So we got all those done, have those done, have these two. That big one just got that one done. We kind of went through, so we did that one earlier, and then he just marked a little bit of paint. Some of the ones that we still have that are roots exposed or little stumps. So I went through and marked those so that we could get those chopped down. So like whenever you go through here with either a York rake or if they need to harrow this again, you're not getting caught on all this stuff. I think those back there we may leave for now, just since they did put seed down here, not to disturb it too much. All of those are kind of just back and we're not where the seat is, so they should be okay. Forks for the tractor. I just drilled the holes in the bucket of the tractor and use a 3/4 inch wrench and socket to zip those on. They're just pieces of channel. So the idea there is we still have all this wood over here. It's all firewood. So we have several trips to make to get all this stuff kind of out of here. So we'll probably go back and get the log trailer on the Otter and just make a few trips. Probably won't get all of it, but just kind of work on getting some of it little bits at a time instead of doing it all in one go. So some of this longer stuff may have to cut in half and kind of put on, but with the forks you should be able to scoop that up and then just set it on the trailer and do that. And while he finishes up doing those last couple stumps. So one nice thing about the log trailer just living over here at the 100 acres now is as we have time to get logs out of the woods, can just hook it up to the Otter and do, a couple trips at a time instead of spending an entire day doing it. Something that I can take some logs, he can continue working on the stump grinding in between. So it's a good thing that we can kind of do little bits at a time instead of trying to do all of it all at once. So at the angle or the channel pieces, they're a little on the bent side. Been using these for a long time, but to have a set of forks. Over here by where the swing is, the pond. I had a stump up here from a sycamore tree we cut. Always got hung up on it. So while we got the stump grinder going, we're looking at this. So I sped this up a little bit, but essentially just had a big stump here. So worked on getting it mowed up and then had some roots along there. So I always get the mower hung up on those whenever I try to mow up here, so we wanted to get those chopped down. That is one thing, you get into the dirt a lot, which is kind of part of the idea, just because you want it below the dirt surface, but it's just so dry right now that it creates a lot of dust. Okay, so we're just downhill from the home site. Home site's up there. It's kind of the area we cleaned out last time, kind of toward the yard. Yard and septic will be kind of over here. Our north trail is up that way and then circles around. It'd be nice to have a path that goes kind of out around this bottom over to the wood yard. So just kind of getting this cleaned up real quick. Pretty clean already. Kind of already have a path, but there's quite a bit of dead stuff down that it would be nice to just kind of push it out of the way. A lot of this area, like down there, kind of gets wet. So whenever it gets kind of in the wet season, can't necessarily use it, but like right now it's super dry and you can drive just about anywhere. So gonna kind of get it established, and then as we start cutting trees in this area and getting light down, it'll kind of stay drier. But there's just a ton of sycamores here, so in this area in general there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that we need to kind of cut that will be kind of in the yard, and they just get big fast and suck up all the light for the other trees. So we start cutting those down and getting it opened up down here. It'll make a big difference. And then just getting rid of the under stuff and making it so that we can kind of get down to the ground and start cleaning it up. Just because this will kind of be where the septic field is. So we'll want to get it opened up a little bit and then get it so that we can get a soil test done over here, and then figure out what the county's requirements are as far as septic permits go and everything. Again, it's one of these things we eat an elephant one bite at a time, so instead of trying to clear all of this all at once, just kind of do little bits at a time. So get a lot of this dead stuff kind of pushed into a pile that we eventually pick up with the 62,
And then some of the smaller trees, or the trees that aren't going to amount to anything.
Two more things I think we kind of want to get done. So last time I was over here with the 62, broke up a whole bunch of dirt, and talked about having it so we can bring up that one spot over there by the food plot, since it holds water. So while we have the little tractor here and the otter, we may utilize them to get some dirt moved there and then get all that raised up. And then the other thing is where we just did all of that stump grinding at the food plot area. We left a little bit of a mess, not too bad, but they did put that clover down, so we don't want to just drag the grater box on. So we may switch to the York rake and kind of back drag all that just to kind of fluff it all out, which won't disturb their seed, but we'll kind of get that smoothed back out so that we don't have kind of all those humps from doing the grinding there. So I think those are the two things we're kind of looking at doing next. Now that we have the two spots where the stumps were kind of fixed, I think that's what's up next.
Alright, so here we're using the combo of the otter and the tractor again to move some dirt. So I had kind of a low lying spot here, so just was able to put the otter in low, drive, and dump all at the same time. Able to get a lot of that filled in using that method, and then have him come back to it with the tractor and the grater box, just kind of grade some of that out. So we just build it up enough so that we get rid of that hump, that divot down so it won't hold water, and then we'll let it see how it does.
So then you saw the time-lapse footage of this. So got all this raised up, so there was kind of a couple divots there just from driving the tires, and the water would collect. So it was mainly back there, but we went ahead and brought this part up too, so it didn't want to sit here. Still have a couple kind of dips here, but I think we're gonna kind of let this sit, and we're going to kind of drive on this and see how this does, and see what we get with this. There's kind of enough on the sides that the water should be able to kind of go off now, but we built this up about 6 to 8 inches, I'm guessing, kind of across this entire spot. So it used to be kind of an up here, now it's all level. So we'll continue to drive on this, get it packed in. We still have dirt up there in the corner from where I dug some out with the 62. So there's still some up there. We'll pack this in and see where it lies, and then maybe just do a little bit of dirt here and there kind of in specific spots, instead of just kind of bring the otter through and just dump a swath of dirt. Kind of do it more localized and just fill in the spots that need it. So even though this is a really short trip, you can see from right up there to here, the dumped dirt, it's still a lot quicker to put a couple scoops in the otter. I can drive and dump and get a kind of a some spread out, and then just right back up and get some. Whereas with the tractor, coming, dumping, go back, scoop, dump, just takes a lot longer. So the otter speeds that process up and doesn't mind doing that with the dirt at all. Just take the stuff out of the bed and our mat, and it does just fine. If you put it in low and just kind of keep her rolling as you dump, it seems to do a decent job spreading, as long as the dirt's not too clumpy. The only thing you have to be kind of careful of on these is it is hydraulic steering, which is really nice, except for the hydraulic for the steering is the same as the hydraulic for the dump bed. So if you're dumping and using that hydraulic, it steals the hydraulic for your steering, so you lose steering. So you just have to kind of be aware of that.
So then lastly, I wanted to clean up our mess from doing all the stump grinding. So I did put some seed down here, so we're trying not to disturb that.
Had a big one here, several smaller ones. So stump grinder did really well. Got all those below the surface, so we could use the York rake and kind of clean up this area. So much better. There's the seed and stuff back there, we'll leave those alone for now, but we may get those later.
So here you can see it does a really good job kind of leaving the dirt, but collecting up a lot of the bigger pieces. And you can see it wants to hop over some just because it's not a very heavy implement. So typically I can walk around and just kind of pitch the stuff that it left, just pitch it into the woods. It's one thing with it being so dry, none of the dirt wants to clump up right now, so it leaves the dirt alone and really just gets the roots and everything out.
So the main thing today was testing out that stump grinder to see how it worked and make sure it kind of did well. All positive, I'll say, but we'll definitely run it through its courses a little bit more, through its paces, and try it on the 62, see how it does on that. I think it may actually do a little bit better. I think it's 15 to 45 horsepower is recommended on that one, and ours is like a 20 horse, and I wouldn't want anything less. Obviously the tractor's 30 plus years old, so some of the linkage stuff is worn out for the 3-point hitch, and just different pieces of it with the hydrostat not being as smooth, that kind of goes against it a little bit on some of those aspects. But it worked well, did what we needed it to. Good final results, so no complaints there. But got that done, did a little bit of grading, and just kind of got some other little projects done, and do a little bit of cleanup around here. Fairly hot day today, so didn't do anything too extensive. Here we're getting toward the end of August, so hoping that some cooler weather's on its way. So anyway, we gotta get the York rake off, get the grader box back on, and then we'll be getting loaded up here pretty soon. So thank you for watching the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.